Vaison-la-Romaine is a commune in the Vaucluse department in the Provence-Alpes-Côte region in southeastern France. The historic section is in two parts: the Colline du Château on a height on one side of the Ouvèze, the upper city, and on the opposite bank, the lower city, centered on the Colline de la Villasse. History: the area was inhabited in the Bronze Age. At the end of the 4th century BCE, the upper city of Vaison became the capital of a Celtic tribe, the Vaucances. After the Roman conquest, the Vaucances retained a certain degree of autonomy. They had two capitals, Luc and Iwa, apparently the religious center, and Vaison. The continued authority in the gradual Romanization of the Celtic oppidum meant that the city plan incurred no disruptive refounding along rigid Roman orthography. The city's modern archaeologist Christian Godinot has suggested that early examples were set by Vaucantian aristocrats who moved down from the oppidum and established villas along the river, around which the Gallo-Roman city accreted. In the Roman period it became one of the richest cities of Gallia Narbonensis, with numerous geometric mosaic pavements, a fine small theatre on the rocky hill slope, probably built during the reign of Tiberius, whose statue was found in a prominent place on its site. The polyclaton Vaison du Minos was discovered in the theatre in the 19th century. Advasio Pompeius Trogus, the Augustan historian, was born. The barbarian invasions were presaged by a pillaging and burning in 276, from which Roman Vasio recovered. But in the 5th century the benches of the theatre began to be reused as Christian tombstones. Vaison belonged to the Burgundians, was taken by the Ostrogoths in 527, then by Clotaire, king of the Franks, in 545, and became part of Provence. The disputes which broke out in the 12th century between the counts of Provence, who had refortified the ancient upper town, and the bishops, each of whom were in possession of half the town, were injurious to its prosperity. They were ended by a treaty negotiated in 1251 by the future Pope Clement IV, a native of St. Giles du Gard. At disturbed times of the Middle Ages, the inhabitants emigrated to the higher ground on the left bank of Ouvèze, with the shelter of the ramparts and a strong castle. For the 18th century most of the population had moved back down to the plains by the river. A flood struck Vaison-la-Romaine on the 22nd of September 1992, costing $1.5 billion in damages. It was the town's worst flood since 1632, and was featured in the Discovery Channel series Destroyed in Seconds. Main sites. One of the most interesting aspects of the town is its geography, and its Roman ruins. The Roman ruins and the modern town are in the valley on the banks of the river Ouvèze, which is crossed by an ancient bridge from the 1st century AD. The medieval town is high on the rocky cliff. The valley floor was safe from attack in Roman and modern times. In the Middle Ages attacks were frequent, and the town retreated uphill to a more defensible position. The apse of the Church of St. Quinan, dedicated to St. Quinadius, seems to date from the 8th century. It is one of the oldest in France. As a whole the cathedral dates from the 11th century, but the apse and the apsidal chapels are from the Merovingian period. At Vaison-la-Romaine, a street was named in Place Alice Colonu. The town also has a famous open-air market held on Tuesdays year-round. Twin Towns, Martigny, Switzerland. Gallery